One of the things that concerns me about bureaucrats, and is why I'm so passionate about keeping government small and keeping our national wealth in the hands of the people in the private economy and free enterprise, is that government corrupts people because of the lack of daily accountability. If you're in business, you're accountable to the customers and clients and shareholders and staff every single day. And that makes leaders humble over time. Most people who run businesses know their limits and have copped knocks and have been forced to grow up. People in top leadership in government roles are a little bit different generally. They have learned not to be accountable to the marketplace, but to be accountable to each other. You get to the top in government by sucking up and saying the right things to the right people. Now, I'm oversimplifying hugely here, I know. I'm not saying that there's zero accountability in government, nor am I saying that there's zero sucking up or corruption or nepotism or politics inside private businesses, especially big corporations. I'm just saying that the rewards tend to be more one way or the other. The jerk manager that you've got to work with in a private business, he's going to screw up and get fired long before his government equivalent is going to screw up and get fired. But of course, big corporations can be as bad as government and get just as detached from market demands and day-to-day competition. But bureaucrats seem to develop a sense of entitlement and self-righteousness that those accountable to the marketplace in small and medium enterprise at least just can't afford to develop. If you do, you go out of business. And what got me thinking about this was that when I was putting last week's show together, I noticed a similarity that actually some of you have picked up in the comments this week between the attitudes of Australia's E-Safety Commission and its head, Julie Inman-Grant, and the former US medical chief of the NIH, Dr. Anthony Fauci. A lack of humility in the way that they seem to go about their roles, an overconfidence and hubris in their own self-correctness, a dangerous unwillingness to consider the implications and the side effects of what they're doing, a single-minded self-righteousness to barge ahead without adequate reflection and humility. We saw it in Dan Andrews. He even got rewarded with a King's Honour this week for his COVID mismanagement. It is astounding stuff. But what was really telling last week was the fact that both of these people, I mean Julie Inman-Grant and Anthony Fauci, who in my humble personal opinion, it's just a personal opinion, I'm sure Julie is exceptional at her job in many ways, and she's a high-achieving woman, but does seem to lack some humility in the way that she's performing this role. And in my humble personal opinion, they do tend to become kind of bureaucratic bullies in the way that they conduct themselves and do their public jobs. Both of them, like this particular personality type often does, played the victim card in public appearances last week.
Now, Elon Musk, you will have noticed, took to his platform at one stage in the last month or so. He described you in somewhat personal terms, I suppose, Australia's censorship commissar. How did that weigh with you?
Well, he issued a dog whistle to 181 million users around the globe, which resulted in death threats directed at me, which resulted in doxing of my family members, including my 3 children. So I think with great power comes great responsibility, and exercising that restraint in terms of targeting a regulator who is here to protect the citizens of Australia is really beyond the pale.
Yes, I'm the victim here. It's not the fact that I'm metaphorically beating you over the head with a brick. It's that you're bleeding all over my nice, pretty dress. And you're defending yourself. How dare you, from my $750,000 a day fines. That's very rude, Elon. And drawing attention to me in a way that's making people say mean things about me. The E-Safety Commissioner is the one with the power here, folks. She has the power to impose massive fines and ultimately jail. And now she wants even more power to actively disrupt businesses that don't comply. They want to go in and prevent social media companies from taking any advertising money. It's unbelievable. And I also love this term, you hear it all the time now, oh, it was a dog whistle. It was a dog whistle, right? I think the dogs just want to be left out of it, thank you very much. But that term dog whistle, it's meant to imply that, you know, a signal's being sent to some sort of evil, bad deplorables in the Hillary Clinton sense of deplorables, you know, to come and get you. Go get them. It's a dog whistle. No, please. I mean, you are no victim, Julie. You are, in this case, the perpetrator. You just don't like the fact that Elon is big enough and rich enough and a bit crazy enough to actually stand up to you, where other big tech companies were just like, it's only Australia, who cares, small market, couldn't be bothered. Because he actually cares about free speech a bit. We got a similar attempt to play victim this week from Anthony Fauci during the US congressional hearings. Independent media commentators Dave Rubin and Megyn Kelly got together to discuss this one on Megyn's video show.
So, Dr. Fauci, can you please share with us the nature of the threats you have received since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yes, there have been everything from harassments by emails, texts, letters of myself, my wife, my 3 daughters. There have been credible death threats leading to the arrests of 2 individuals, and credible death threats mean someone who clearly was on their way to kill me. And it's required my having protective services essentially all the time. It is very troublesome to me. It is much more troublesome because they've involved my wife and my 3 daughters.
At these moments, how do you feel?
Oh, my Lord.
Keep your mic on.
Terrible.
Do you continue to receive threats today?
Yes, I do. Every time someone gets
Dingle?
up and says I'm responsible for the death of people throughout the world, the death threats go up.
Well, you are.
He is.
No one feels sorry for you. No one. Can you believe that?
Megyn, have you ever received a mean email or a mean text?
You want to see my death threats? Let's go over the past 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, death threats are terrible. They are illegal, by the way, and if you make them, you will be prosecuted because even anonymous social media accounts can be tracked after a death threat. So don't do that. That's bad. And we should be able to sort out our differences peacefully. The problem with people like these leaders is that they just never show humility. They act with absolute authoritarian style and then defend themselves to the death even after being proven wrong.
He, in all the Fauci sound bites I've seen, I have yet to see him shed a tear.
Yeah.
For
Right.
the
Isn't that
dead,
something?
for the children who suffered because of his unsupported mandates over and over, issued with hubris and no empathy for the people who are going to be affected, the children who are going to be affected in particular, the people who lost their jobs because of the vaccine mandates that he was behind. Not one even quivering lip. It only happens when it's about him.
It's so twisted. The people that didn't get to go to their mother or grandmother's funeral.
Right.
Like just think of that.
Who watch their spouses die through a window.
I heard yet another story this week about a young teenager battling serious anxiety disorder and the hell her parents are going through, all because of lockdowns. We may be the first generation in history who sacrificed its young to save its elderly. That's not a sustainable strategy for a species. And think about the hubris of Dan Andrews and the brutality that he was prepared to unleash on Melbourne. And think about the pure arrogance of Anastasia Palaszczuk and Mark McGowan with their closed borders and denying people the harmless right to see dying loved ones, while at the same time letting footballers travel freely for games. All they had to do was show some damn humility and humanity. The public were very willing to afford them a lot of support and cut them a lot of slack in the difficult job that they had before them and had to handle. But you have to show you're listening and be a little bit reasonable. Tyrannical authoritarian personality types are attracted to leadership roles and to politics. And in many corporations, they're on the lookout for these people and they're weeding them out or getting them training. They're not giving them medals of the Order of Australia for their appalling lack of leadership maturity and talent. Did you know lots of Aussie YouTubers have to make American content to survive? We want to keep producing Aussie news, and to do that, we need your direct help. If you'd like to advertise on our show, please get in touch in the comments below or DM us on Twitter. Our Australian content means we deliver mostly an Aussie audience. Or if you'd just like to help us with a donation, please click on the Super Thanks button that's with the little $sign right under the video frame just here. Or just click the subscribe button and bell. That's free and it helps a lot.